Rachel Braunstein, Managing Policy Attorney with Her Justice, is here to speak to us today about child support. Rachel, Governor Cuomo declared August Child Support Awareness Month. What does this mean?
Well, I understand it's the state's committing itself to the benefits of child support for families. And so the state says that they're concerned about how the well-being of children comes from both parents' obligation to support their children.
And why is child support critical for families living in poverty?
Well, for families living in poverty, child support can often represent an enormous percentage of the family's income. So many of our clients are people living in poverty.
That's okay. We'll just start again.
Yeah.
Why is child support critical for families living in poverty?
Well, for many families living in poverty, child support often represents an enormous percentage of that family's income. And child support means food on the table, a roof over the family's head. So especially people living in poverty need to go to the courts for help getting child support.
What is your experience having worked on hundreds of child support cases in New York City Family Court, for instance?
Well, many of our clients come to us after a number of years without child support. Their relationship with the other parent of their child may have ended years earlier, and they've struggled to make ends meet and have finally found an organization like Her Justice that can give them advice to go to court to file for child support, or in many cases can find an attorney to represent them.
And how does the legal system reach a child support agreement? Like, what's the process?
So if someone is seeking child support, he or she, the custodial parent, the parent who's living with the children, can file a petition in family court, usually in the borough where the family lives. And then the court will assign a date for the parties, both parents, to come to court and to present to the court their financial circumstances. So often people coming to court have to provide documentation of their finances or oral testimony to the court to explain to the court what income is available to the parents so that child support can be calculated pursuant to a statutory law for the child.
And does the mother, what exactly is a petition, first of all?
A petition is a piece of paper on which a custodial parent, the parent who is living with the child or children, writes why she is seeking child support and from whom she is seeking that support, the other parent's information.
Are most custodial parents women?
The vast majority of custodial parents are women.
And how does having child support affect a single woman's life?
Well, so many of our clients are single women. They are women raising their children alone, and they are struggling to make ends meet. They are trying to hold down a job while caring for children single-handedly, and child support can be a key piece in that family's financial circumstances to really improve the lot for the whole family.
And so what happens is the partner capable of paying child support? Like, what happens next?
Well, so many times we've seen, and we really take the tough cases, we really take the cases at Her Justice where our clients are toiling away as single parents, struggling, and where they think that there is money to be obtained for child support from the other parent, where that parent is working, hiding assets or income, is not being truthful to the custodial parent, the mother, or to the court. So in many of our cases, the tough ones that we take, we are seeing that there is money there. There is either a proven ability to hold down a job because there's a work history for that other parent, or there is a current job that the other parent is not disclosing to the court. And we often, with the help of financial firms, financial accounting or consulting firms, can really dig into what is that other income that's available so that the court can calculate an appropriate amount of child support.
So when that income is uncovered, then what happens?
Well, once the income is uncovered, the attorney representing the client, one of our pro bono attorneys typically, will make an argument to the court that in fact there's more than meets the eye, that in fact there's income here, and once there's proven income for the non-custodial parent, typically the father in our cases, the court takes out a calculator and does the calculation. We have many cases where it's not so easy to find hidden income, or there isn't hidden income. In fact, he's not working at the time that the case is in front of the court. There's a work history. And in those cases, our attorneys are arguing that the prior earnings should be imputed or ascribed to the father today in the court, so that instead of earning zero, he's earning the $30,000 or $40,000 that he was previously earning before the court case was filed.
And so, in the case where they have found more income, what kind of difference does that make in the settlement that the single mother obtains?
Where we find hidden income, the impact on our client and her family's life can be enormous. She suddenly can have hundreds of times more income coming to her family than she has before. And often our clients come to us after having been through the court system themselves and after trying to get at this hidden income or hidden assets. But without an attorney, it's nearly impossible to do.
So, do most single women looking for child support go to court without an attorney? How does that work?
Yes. The statistics on the numbers are really staggering. There's something like over 90% of litigants in child support cases are unrepresented. So the problem with child support is that there's no right to an attorney. So if you can't afford an attorney, you have no right to a court-appointed attorney. Unlike, let's say, in a custody case or in an order of protection case where there is a right to an attorney. So for indigent people going through the child support system, if they are not able to find pro bono counsel through a Her Justice program or something similar, you don't have an attorney.
So that obviously reduces by a large amount what they might be entitled to from their partners.
Right. Without an attorney, I don't know how any client, and we've seen from our own clients who are finally matched with an attorney through our program, but who had for years tried on their own. Without an attorney, I don't know how you do the kind of investigation that lawyers are skilled in doing to either uncover hidden income or assets, understand what's in a bank account that the adverse party or the non-custodial parent has, or make this argument of imputing income from prior earnings. Without an attorney, those opportunities are unavailable to clients.
So what happens when the partner is not able to pay? Like potentially, what if he's incarcerated, or what if he doesn't have a job? What if he doesn't have a job? How is he supposed to pay?
So Her Justice does a lot of screening up front of the kinds of cases we take. And if we hear from our clients after multiple discussions that there's really no ability, there's a history of incarceration, there's no work history, if the non-custodial parent, usually the father, is young and has really not established a work history yet, those may not be the best cases for us to put our resources behind. That mother or that custodial parent can still go for child support, but if there is zero money on the other side, zero hidden income or assets, the court will give a statutory minimum award of $25 a month, regardless of whether that client has one child or 3 children or 5.
So that woman is really out of luck.
Yeah, and most of those clients in our experience are going to resort to public assistance or welfare.
And what do you think, what are the major challenges now to awarding fair child support in the courts?
Well, one major problem is an issue that we see throughout the family courts, which is delay in the courts, which is the fact that if you petition for child support, you file that piece of paper in the court, you may not be done with that child support case for many months or even years. So for our clients who are struggling to hold down low-wage jobs, for which they may not get paid if they take a day off, or for which they may get fired or threatened with termination if they miss a lot of work, they're reluctant to pursue child support. They're reluctant to sort of have the stamina to go through 8 court appearances. And so this delay is really working against our clients in child support cases where they are pursuing financial stability through the court system. So that challenge is faced by many of our clients. But again, you see the stark contrast for low income or people living in poverty versus a person who could get paid for a day off of work or probably wouldn't get threatened with termination for missing 6 or 8 court days of work.
So women find themselves in the position of are required to come to court for their partner's hearings, and that puts them at risk of losing their jobs.
Right. So one of the major things we see is that there's always an initial court date. He may or may not show up for that court date. He may or may not bring his required financial disclosure paperwork, statements about income and expenses and income. and there's another court date made, a postponement, and there may be another postponement after that. So through all of these court appearances where really nothing's moving forward, no progress is being made, our clients are required to show up, whether they have attorneys or not. And I wonder if there's a possibility that the courts would do away with some of their appearances on these dates, because I'm hearing from more and more clients that they're being adversely affected at work. The boss is saying, I can't lose you another day. You can't appear in this court case. So we've had many clients say to us, I'm giving up. I'm not going to go through this court case. I mean, I've had many clients who, for years, as I said earlier, have gone for child support in the courts, which I find really remarkable considering the obstacles against them appearing in court every court appearance, and trying to raise the children on their own, hold down a job, etc.
So, do you see any potential solutions to these delays and these issues that you just...
Well, I think the court, the family courts are going through a strategic planning process, and I think they're really looking at these kinds of problems that pervade all areas of family court. Again, custody, orders of protection, other areas in which her justice works. And they're looking at how the experience of litigants, the experience of people filing cases or responding to cases in the courts, and these sort of collateral consequences for people of what it means to be showing up with a line of 40 other people before you for a court appearance that's supposed to start at 9 o'clock, and the next thing you know, you're there till 4. How do you have childcare for that? How do you miss work for that? So the courts are looking at their systems, but I think we really need as advocates to push for more court reform, to make sure that if people have a 9 o'clock appointment, they're seen at 9 o'clock, that they get the opportunity for their voice to be heard. We hear from so many clients, I just didn't get my voice heard. And I think if there were a lighter burden on the court system, more people who have cases that really need to be processed through the courts would have the opportunity to have the judge or hearing officer hear what they need to say. I think for appearances or court dates where our clients are not needed, they shouldn't be required to show up. We need to really think of the experience of the people in the court system in the rest of their lives, and the fact that most of the people in the court system are living in poverty, and what the challenges they face really are. So I think that if we're going to be dealing with child support in the courts, which in overwhelming numbers New Yorkers are, we need to really push for reform around that system.
And does her justice have a role in that reform?
Her justice has done a lot of work in reforming the courts and pushing the courts to think in new ways about how litigants are coming through. We've been part of the court's discussions on reforming the delays, reforming other operational challenges, mostly because we care about our litigants and we care about our clients and those like them who we're not even reaching going through the system. Also because we think our pro bono voice is really valuable. We are a major provider of pro bono legal representation in the family courts, and we think that that's a unique position. We think that the challenges that are in the courts for litigants and for attorneys who regularly practice in those courts are also there for pro bono attorneys, and we think pro bono attorneys can be an incredibly valuable resource to the courts to help move cases along. Courts always think it's better when a litigant is represented, and we provide representation to hundreds of people a year in the family courts. Her justice has also been part of helping the courts look more closely at child support violation issues, cases where there is already an order of child support, but where our clients are not receiving money under that order, and how those should be processed in an expedited way in the courts, because these are people who have already been through the court system to get a child support order, and now are suffering because they're not getting paid on that order and need to sort of not go through another lengthy, protracted court process. So her justice has been an instrumental part of advocates' discussions with the system about really making those cases go better for the litigants involved.
What percentage would you say of people are not getting paid the child support that they're entitled to?
Well, the national statistics show that almost half of people don't get full payments on their child support.
Is there anything else you'd like to say about the impact of this on our clients, on this child support process on our clients?
I think that the state recognizes, and in Governor Cuomo's proclamation for August as Child Support Awareness Month, I think the state recognizes that child support is a poverty issue, and I think the the state agencies involved in child support recognize that child support is about poverty for most people. But I think we need to do a better job of understanding um, how these people intersect with all the systems that deal with child support, how many of our clients have a lifetime of going on and off public assistance or welfare because of failure to obtain child support, and how we need to do a better job for families of understanding where there's opportunity to get child support paid for children, where there may not be opportunity to get that money for a family, and how we need to take a more sort of human view of the experience of people in the family courts who are trying to get this relief under the law.
Thank you.
Thank you.